Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Season 2 of Reviving Humanity. Now, first, I just want to take a moment to thank those of you who have tuned in regularly. I truly do appreciate your support because your support helps the message spread. It helps us spread that awareness of humanity, the lacking of humanity that must be revived within us. So I really appreciate your support. It means so much to me. And I want to offer you all listening the opportunity to reach out to me directly. I created Reviving Humanity TikTok. So you can search Reviving Humanity on TikTok, and you are welcome to follow Reviving Humanity on TikTok, where I will be there. And I want to communicate with you. I want us to communicate with each other, to feel like we have a place, a community where we can talk, where we can share our stories, where we can share what we are dealing with on a real human level. Because as you know, in the real world, a lot of us don't have time, right? The people that we interact with, they're too busy. They're too busy to stop and even listen to your response when they ask you, how are you doing? But I want to bring humanity back and offer this space for us to truly come together. So please follow me on Reviving Humanity on TikTok. I want you to also know that I created a store, an online clothing store. You can go to reviving-humanity.com, and there you will find accessories, phone cases that I have designed. You will find shirts, hoodies, and sweatshirts that I have also designed, which helps to spread the message of reviving humanity. So, without further ado, let's just get right into today's topic: the costs of the American dollar. What are the costs that you and I pay every day to seek out that American dream? Now, I want to specifically talk about the American dream that causes us to work our life away, right? Because you want to achieve that American dream, even if it means working 2 or 3 jobs. This is what I am talking about. That American dream that you are seeking at whatever costs possible. And I want to mention 2 main points: the costs being our freedom and the other costs being our soul. That's what I really want to talk about. Now, getting into how seeking out the American dream, seeking out the American dollar costs you and I our freedom. Again, a lot of us have to work 2 and 3 jobs. And we spend our lives working these jobs, believing that, I'm hustling, I'm grinding, I'm getting that money, and we find pride in that, which is nothing wrong with that. I found pride in that myself, being someone who hustled at an early age. Okay, I started working at 16 years old, which I'm sure some of you may have started working earlier than that. But I started working at 16 years old. And for the last 20 plus years, I have been working 2 jobs because I was chasing that dollar, which could lead me to my American dream. But what I often found out is that I was working my life away for these companies and still had not invested nearly as much time as I should have into myself, into my own creativity. Because in America, we are taught you to go to school, to graduate, get that education, get that college degree, get that master's degree. And what does that master's degree do for us? It lands us a corporate job in America. Your degree is what keeps that corporate business wealthy, because it needs bodies in its chairs. And you are the investment. But we don't realize, we don't think about it this way. And this is not a glass half empty scenario. I want you to really think outside of the illusion, the delusion of the American dream. Because what it does is it keeps you It keeps you from looking inward, from building your own legacy. It keeps you dependent on, well, I need to have this degree because if I get this degree, I can get this job. The United States will offer me this opportunity and I can spend the next 30 plus years and then retire from that job. And then I can go vacation and retire after that and live out the rest of my days. But what we are not doing is we are not expanding. We are not truly free, a lot of us, when we have to work 2 and 3 jobs, when we are working 12, 16, 20 hours a day. There are people working 20 hours a day to get that dollar. And again, it does show great strength. It shows great hustle. But at the end of the day, we need to think about the costs. There are costs associated with that. Let's talk about the cost of our freedom. So when we talk about specifically, I'm talking about those of us who are working these 2 and 3 jobs, not the exception, not those of us who have already done the work, who have invested in ourselves, who have built our own businesses, our own companies. I'm talking about those of us on the front lines, those of us in the grinding for that American dream. I want to talk about how it costs you your freedom. But first, let me explain the scenario to you. Have you ever thought about, and this, I just thought about this year. Have you ever considered the fact that your job only pays you enough to get you right back on the plantation? I mean, and this is not, I get it. People are going to say, oh, you're being negative. No, I'm not being, just hear me out. Let's just think about it for a minute. Your job or jobs pays you just enough money to get you right back on the plantation. It pays for the fuel in your vehicle. It pays the car note for your vehicle. It pays the food to fuel your own body. It pays for your housing. It pays for your health insurance, your dental insurance. It pays for everything that you need to survive, to get you right back on the plantations. And the reason why I say this is because if you have to work 16, 20 hours in the day, there's a reason why. It's because you don't have enough money. These jobs are not paying you enough to work just one of them, to work just 8 hours in a day. So that is why I say it pays you just enough to get you right back on the plantation. If you're working 2 jobs and you have a family, you have children, it pays you just enough to feed your family, to pay for daycare, okay, to pay for that transportation. I want us to really think about so we can come outside of it, come outside of that programming, because we really need to start preparing. I want you to think about the powers that be. They are already thinking about the next 100 years, while we here are just thinking about the next paycheck. We really need to start thinking about the next 100 years, although we will not be here, but it will propel us forward to get out of the hamster wheel. Because what's coming up, AI, we just can't get away from this. AI is becoming more intelligent. We are using it more and more. You as an artist who made a living off of your paintings, you are now in competition with AI who can go and design something just as great as you possibly could. The only difference is that there is a human level to what you can bring as an artist. But what I am saying is that so many of us can just go and create a canvas using AI. You can. A lot of people are doing this with their shirts. So what I'm saying is if AI can become creative, AI can also take those jobs, those plantation jobs, and they will. So what are you going to do when those jobs are no longer available? That is what we really need to think about. You really need to think about, how can I propel myself forward? How can I propel myself forward so that my family, my children, my descendants will already have the road paved for them? They won't be out there lost and confused, running around like a chicken with their head cut off, wondering what are they going to do for income. We have to realize the gifts that we have within, the talents that you have within, the abilities, your passions. Figure out how to tap in that. It is hard. I'm not going to lie to you. It is. It is easy. It is easier to go out there and follow the system of graduating high school, going to college, getting that degree to land that corporate job, then to promote yourself as an artist, as a director, as a manager, as a business owner, as a chef, as a whatever it is that you have, because you are competing now with other people. Just like you are in the corporate world, but this is different because you are building your own business. But we must realize that this is the route we are going to have to take in the future, in the near future. We really are going to have to start thinking about this. And not only that, it allows you to regain your freedom. Because as I said, these jobs pay you just enough. And I'm talking about most of us who are working, who are living paycheck by paycheck. You know this. It pays you just enough to get right back to the plantation. Because what good are you if you do not have a vehicle, if you do not have reliable transportation, if you do not have gas to put in that transportation? What good are you if you do not have food to put into your own body? Because this company, a lot of these factory jobs, they need you to be well rested. They need you to be fed so that you can work those 12 and 16 hours. That's just what I want you to see that. I want you to see that it's not, a lot of us grow up thinking that, oh, I made it. I'm doing it because I'm able to pay my own bills and I'm successful because I'm paying my own bills. But we don't see the other part of it, which is that this job is really paying for you to continue to go back to their company, to work for them. They are paying you to work for them. And it's not in the sense, it's I'm trying to help you see the picture. It's not just, they are paying you just enough to be able to work for them, giving you the basic necessities that you need in life. Because how many of us are truly able to vacation? How many of us are truly able to travel around the globe, learn multiple languages, learn multiple cultures, really be able to grow? That is what you are really put here for. One of the many things that you're put here for. We are supposed to be expanding our consciousness, but all we are doing is continuing down this cycle, on this hamster wheel, clocking in, clocking out, day in, day out. 6-7 days a week for us to be able to continue to make the corporate world rich. I want to talk about something really quick. There was a company that had a raise. It was a big raise. They gave out a $2.50 raise. And to most people, they're thinking, wow, this is huge. This is big. But what people don't really realize is that when you go to the paycheck calculator, this is what I have been doing. This is how I have been able to get around all these years, traveling, living in California, living in all these different states, cities. I go to paycheck calculator, and that tells you the truth. If you have a job that says they are giving you a $2 raise, I need you to understand that at the end of the day, if you are paid weekly, that $2 raise only adds up to maybe $40 to $60 extra a week. So $40 to $60 extra dollars a week is going to put you, because taxes, they take so much taxes. So that's $80 extra dollars a week, bi-weekly, which monthly would come up to be around $220, maybe between $190 and $210, $215. So you really have to ask yourself, how big is that raise really? And that is what I am saying. It's the illusion. They give you these things, these raises, But at the end of the day, you have to really see, man, I still, that extra $210 a month is nice. But at the end of the day, all that's doing is helping me have a little bit of change left over. That's change. That is change. It's nice. I'm not going to complain, but it's change. When you yourself can free yourself from the plantation and build your own. But as I said, it is challenging. Not all of us can get lucky and start a clothing line and immediately have a whole bunch of sales, right? But what I want you to see is that the cost is your freedom. The cost is your inability to see the illusion for what it is. That again, these jobs, you working those 16, 20 hours, those jobs are just paying you enough to get you right back on the plantation the next day. And because that's what it is, because the illusion of that $2 raise is only an extra $60 in your pocket weekly, $40 to $60 in your pocket weekly due to all the taxes that are being taken out. I need you to see how important it is, knowing the AI is rising, how important it is to see yourself, see the abilities the universe has gifted you, and see how you can offer that to the world. That is what we need to be doing. Learning what our true abilities are, our true gifts. Being able to learn each other's cultures and languages. And this is going to move into the soul. The cost is our soul. Because as I said, a lot of us are working 16, 20 hours a day. And that's just the reality. 16, 20 hours a day to achieve the American dream, to get the grind, to get that dollar. But then we lose the ability to have human interactions because we don't have time for it. I'm the prime example of this. I spent my life, as I said, working 2 jobs, the last 20 plus years working 2 jobs, trying to achieve the American dream in California. I'm alone. Okay, I don't have family or friends with me. I'm trying to achieve this. I'm able to live by myself. I had my apartment. I lived in Sacramento, California. Okay. But at the end of the day, I never made any real connections. I never made any real, genuine friendships. And that you don't understand. You do not understand how important that is. We are so blind and distracted, daydreaming and dreaming of the American dollar that is keeping us from being human with one another. Because that's the only thing that is on our mind at the end of the day. I got to get that dollar. I got to get the bag. I got to get the bag. I got to get the bag. I got to get the Benz. I got to get the Jag. I got to get the house. I got to get the cats and the dogs. I got to get the fence. The cats, the dogs, and the fence. And the Jag. And the Jeep beep beep. Okay? But we do not realize that it's keeping us all that work. We are working our life away. We are working our souls away. And I realized this. Sadly, I had to wait until I was in my 30s to realize this. How important it is to have real, genuine friendships, connections. And I always wanted to have that love, that person. But I told myself, I had to say, I'm done. I am not going to keep doing this 2-job thing. I am tired of giving my life away to a system that is only going to pay me enough to get my ass right back on the plantation the next day. I realized that I had abilities that were suppressed, working for these companies. I had to tell myself that I was an artist. You have to tell yourself, I'm a director, I'm a manager, I'm a CEO, I am this. You have to believe it. And the more I told myself and believed it, my creativity started to pour out of me. Yes, it's still a battle. I'm still trying to gain customers and trying to get people to just look at my website. But I was able to finally see that, wow, I do have these abilities. I can do so much more than the limits these corporate jobs are going to place on me. You are only going to be able to do so much with these corporate jobs. They have a cap on you of how far they are going to challenge you, of how far you are going to soar in life. But when you take it into your own hands and you apply your skills, you see your abilities. It's limitless what you can do. Limitless. And I'm just trying to help you see. I am just trying to help you see that the American dollar should not come above the human interactions that you could potentially make. It should not come above the cost of your soul. The cost of your soul is this election. It's a great example. You know, I watched the debate. I watched the parts of the RNC and the DNC. I watched parts of those. Okay, I listened to the speeches. And what I see is that people, especially us in the Black community, when I mention the costs is our soul, how we're losing our soul in the process. The election is a great example, especially within the Black community. How many of us, and be honest, how many of us think about our ancestors before we go and vote? Before we make the decision to vote? This country is continuing to teach lies about the history of its own history, the history of slavery. This country is continuing to gaslight you. And the reason why it's so easy for us to be distracted is because there are so many of us who are still ashamed to be associated with our true DNA, with our true ancestry. Sure, we may have a connection. We may have blood. We may have Indian, Native American blood in us. But have we actually thought to examine the 574 Native American tribes that exist? 574 Native American tribes. 3,000 ethnic groups in the continent of Africa, yet you want to say that you are not connected to that when you have not studied neither 3,000 ethnic groups in Africa, nor have you studied all 574 Native American tribes in the United States. That is another thing. This American dream is costing us our soul because we so badly want to just be associated with it that we don't want to fight for who we are. And I'm talking to my people here. I'm talking to my brothers and sisters here. I'm talking to y'all. We want it so bad that we are willing to say, you know what, that has nothing to do with me. I am Indian. You know, I'm not going to get into the whole lesson here about this, but we really still do not know the truth. You cannot make sound decisions and tell someone who they are and who they are not without having done all of the research on all of these different tribes, all of these different ethnic groups, to see how there may be a connection, that one of these, that maybe one of these Indian Native American tribes could be connected to one of those 3,000 ethnic groups in Africa, because people migrated. But you're trying to say that there is no connection. Why? Because the DNA tests do not go so far when there's not a lot of us doing these tests. But again, that's just a side rail. Let me get back on point here. The costs of the American dollar has been our freedom, has been our networking skills, has been our social skills, has been our marital statuses. Okay, a lot of us, 47% of the United States population are single. And I'm going to mention this. 47% of the United States population are single. Look at how we are working to achieve the American dream, but not working to achieve real human, genuine interactions with one another. We go to work, we grind and we hustle, and we don't even know how to have basic human interactions with each other. Because the only thing on our mind is, I got to get that money. We are driven by fear. Our fear drives us because no one wants to be homeless. Okay, I understand that. No one wants to be homeless. But we must really consider the fact that at the end of the day, you are busting your butt, working 2 and 3 jobs, trying to support your family, trying to get to that American dream. You must understand that when you limit yourself to the American dream, you limit how far you can soar. You limit your own creative ability. Because you said you're stopping with, I want to be a nurse. I want to be an RN. I want to be a lawyer. And these things are great. This is all great. These are great achievements, but they all come with a cap. They all come with a cap. I mean, unless you have your own business, you have your own law firm, and you're actually making a difference in the world with that law firm, helping minority people. Okay, but at the end of the day, if you are working, it's still a part of that corporate system that has you working. You know, I think someone mentioned they worked 120 hours in a week or something. And I'm just trying to think, how is that even possible? 120 hours in a week? Are there even 120 hours in a week? Someone do the math for me, please. What's 24 times 7? I hate to tell you, I can't think of it at the top of my head. That's what, our educational system has done for me. But we are working like this, and we are not working on our soul, our spirit. The only thing we take with us when we leave this place is the only thing we do not work on. It's just baffling. That is the thing that you need to work on. And because I told myself, I said, I'm no longer doing this. I'm no longer working 2 jobs. I'm going to focus on my own creativity. I have had so much enlightenment. So much enlightenment that I would not have had if I had continued to be distracted, continued to just get up, work that 5 to 9. Not 9 to 5, that 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. If I had continued to do that, I would not have any time to self-reflect. I would not have any time to grow, to learn from my mistakes, because you don't have time to do that. You don't have time to do that when you're constantly on the hamster wheel. A lot of us don't even have, our sleeping habits are ruined. A lot of us can't even get 8 hours of sleep in the night. Lucky if you can even get 5. That is not what we are supposed to be doing as humans. And you need to see the system for what it is. That's why I talk about, I mentioned modern day slavery. Obviously, it's not as brutal. Okay, we're not going to dare compare what those ancestors had to go through. But the system is still in place, especially in these factories. You don't even get to take a full break in a lot of these companies. They tell you the moment you stop working, that is when your break begins. So if it takes you 10 minutes to get to the break room, to make that phone call, to take that PP, that means you only get 10 minutes to do what you need to do, because it's going to take you another 10 minutes to get right back to the station. How are we living like this? It's all about the numbers. And that's what it was like in the past. You had to produce. I was listening to a documentary where there were these women who were slaves, and they were saying, yeah, I did 250. I picked 250 today. Really? I did 400 today. It's the same thing. We have to be able to see this system so we can. This system is not a healthy system for us as human beings. It is not a healthy system. And we don't see how much we have taken from that past, from that history, and how it's still working and how it's still in effect today. This is not a glass half empty scenario. This is a wake-up call for us to see. I want to help prepare you, because they are preparing. They are thinking about the next 100 to 500 years. And all we are doing is thinking about the next paycheck. That is not going to help us or our descendants. We need to start thinking ahead. figuring out how to network, how to truly come together and support one another. Help each other get to a place where it's not about the capitalistic world, but it's about purpose. I was talking to people. I met someone who is from Afghanistan, and they were telling me that in their country, they don't have to work no more than 6 hours a day. No more than 6 hours a day. And I'm listening to this person tell me how much of a machine the United States is, how they, when you're working here, there are no breaks. They're constantly watching you, constantly looking to see if you're working, and you have to constantly keep moving, keep going and going and going until you get that break. But they were, a lot of people, even people from the Congo, have said to me, this is different. It's not like this in our country. If we want to sit down and take a break, we can sit down and take a break. And this is outside of the regular break time. This is, hey, if I'm working, I've been going for 2.5 hours and I need to sit down for a minute. They are allowed to do that, but not here. You don't get to sit down until it's break time. And we know what break time is like. That is what I am saying. And I just want you to see the system for what it truly is so that you can get out of it, so that you can prepare yourself. We need to start preparing ourselves for the future. Because let me tell you, I'm sorry, what's his name again? The man with the Teslas. What's his name with the Teslas? Elon Musk. My gosh. I mean, they're already ready to go to Mars by 2050. Okay, so, and we're just thinking about the next paycheck. We have to think ahead. We have to see the plantation system for what it still is. We must put our ancestors first. We must put our human connections with each other first. Because you may work them 2 to 3 jobs, and eventually you're going to end up in a situation. You're going to end up in a situation where you're going to need surgery, where a body part is no longer going to be able to function the way that it used to, because your body, you're wearing it out. So now you have no choice but to step down. Only now you have not built any genuine interactions, any genuine connections. You are alone. And all you have to show for it is how hard you worked for the plantation. I just want you to see this part, the cost. These are costs that are associated with the American dollar. These are big costs. More and more of us are alone. We do not know how to build genuine connections. We do not even know how to have a genuine, authentic relationship. We're not learning because we are in a rush. A lot of us are driving home, getting off at 9 o'clock at night, stopping at the Burger King, stopping at the Wendy's, eating, scarfing down that chicken sandwich. The chicken sandwich with the mayo, with the mustard and the lettuce and the pickles, we're scarfing it down and chomping on it, and it tastes so good. We're, scarfing it down, trying to get to the house. And then we get to the house and we throw our clothes on the floor. We hop in the shower, we get in the bed, and we get up, 5 hours later and do it all over again. And we don't have time to build human interactions. We need each other. We need human interactions. We need to find our humanity. All we are doing is going out there and being robotic, putting on that fake smile. Hi, how are you? Good. Keep it moving. I need that American dollar so I can get this house and this car. What is the American dream really to you? I just want you to answer that. What is it really to you? There is a whole world outside of the United States of America that needs to be explored. Languages that your mind Your neurons, our neurons need in order to make the connection to humanity. But we are just so stuck on America because it has you in delusion. Let me not say it has you in delusion, but it's the illusion. It's the illusion of the American dream that has you believing that the United States flag is more valuable than your own life. That's what it has you doing. There are so many costs associated with the American dollar, but these are the costs that stood out to me the most because these have affected me personally the most. It has affected me from being able to build those genuine relationships because all I have been doing is working. It took me years to finally put myself first, put my talent first. There were so many things that I was not learning, and now I have my own portfolio to show of work that I have done, that I can leave behind a legacy. You know, as long as we believe that we are only good enough to get that degree, to keep that job wealthy, to keep that corporate business wealthy, we're not going to tap into who we truly are. Everyone has a unique ability, a unique gift, but we don't get to tap into that when we are living for the American dollar, for the illusion of the American dream. I just want you to step outside of the illusion, to see the reality and challenge yourself. Challenge yourself. Understand that there is a whole world out there that needs to be explored. And when we challenge ourselves, that's how we can learn our history. We can learn the history of this planet, which is so important. We can learn the galaxy. We can learn the universe and how it's all connected. These things are important. But they have you believing that the only thing that is important is the American dream. Everyone is coming here to achieve the American dream, and it's at the cost of their soul. I spoke with someone who was young. They were in their 20s, 20 years old. And even they at that age knew that the only thing that is important is to achieve, is to get that American dream, even if it means I have to stab you in the back, even if it means that I have to be fake, even if it means that, you know, I need to use you, that I need to just tolerate you in order for you to help me achieve the American dream. This is the mindset that a lot of people are coming. And I'm not trying to call anyone out. I'm just saying this is the mindset of a lot of these young people who this is how they are being taught, that you must achieve the American dream at any cost. It's not about building any friendships. It's not about having any morals or values. It's about getting that American dream and doing what you need to do to get to the American dream. So they will come here and believe that they need to work. This 20-year-old told me that they have never been in a relationship. They have never been in a relationship. And they tell me that they are going to continue to probably not be in one because they have to go to school. And I get that you may be saying, well, that's good. They got to go to school, right? I mean, you are losing out on the experience of humanity, of being able to see the problem of tolerating someone rather than getting to know that person and appreciating them. We don't appreciate each other. We're not grateful for the interactions that we have. We take them for granted because the only thing on our mind is the American dollar and the American dream. I just want you to see is how much of a problem that is when it's at the cost of your own soul, your own freedom. I see these people working. I see them. I hear them. They tell me, I don't have time. I don't have time for this. I don't have time to hang out with you. I don't have time to get to know you. I got to go to work. I got 2 jobs. I'm about to go here. I don't have time. I'm tired. I was that person. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm too tired. I work 2 jobs. I'm not trying to drive 30 minutes to go hang out with you. Okay. You can come over here and hang out with me, but I'm tired. Okay. What are we going to do? I'm tired. This is reality. This is reality. We are humans, but we are not being human because the American dream has us confused. The cost of the American dollar is our soul and our freedom. And we must be able to see this so we can make corrections, so we can course correct, if that's even the right term, but so we can make those corrections in our lives and actually appreciate when someone wants to get to know you on a human level. How rare is that in our world today? How rare is that? I remember back in the day, back in the 90s, early 2000s, it was easy to get to know people. It was easier to date. Dating is not what it used to be. We are not what we used to be, and we need to get back there. We have a long way to go, but I hope that we can expand our consciousness and get to a place that we have never been before as humanity. Show our past selves that we are doing better because we have learned from our mistakes. We are learning in the present day for a better future tomorrow. I just hope that you can take some time to see this. You know, when you go out and you are hustling, you are saying, I got to get this dollar, I got to get this cash, I got to get that Benz, I got to get that dollar bill, y'all. When you are out there saying all of this and someone wants to have a conversation with you in public and you say you don't have time for it because you got to go to work, this is what I need you to think about. One day you are going to be 50 and 60 years old. And you're going to wish you had taken the time to be human and build a genuine human interaction with someone. Don't be that person in the nursing home who doesn't have anyone to come by and visit them. That is reality. We don't think about the future. We need to think about the future. And I just hope that don't take my sternness as, I'm being mean. I truly care about humanity. It matters to me. It matters to me that they want to go and fly to Mars, colonize Mars. That matters to me, and it should matter to you as humanity. So that's all I have for today. Again, I hope that you all stay safe, you stay educated, and you get to know yourself. Take care.